Hi students, today we are going to discuss about introduction to the nervous system. The following are the objectives. By the end of this class, you should be able to describe the subdivisions of the nervous system, the definition of various terms, you should be able to describe the structure of neuron in detail and classification of neurons with examples. As you know, the nervous system mainly provides the complex mechanism to react the body to both as well as internal and external environment. It integrates and controls the activities of all other systems of the bodies. So you have so many organ systems in the body. You have cardiovascular system, you have respiratory system, GIT system. So coordinating all these organ system internally as well as the reaction of the body to the external environment. So it's controlled by the nervous system. It integrates the sensory information, it initiates the motor response, as well as it helps in controlling the memory, learning, and intelligence. Coming to the subdivision of the nervous system, we can have a look at this chart. The nervous system is broadly classified into two categories: central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. Peripheral nervous system is again classified into autonomic nervous system and somatic nervous system. Autonomic nervous system is further classified into sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system. So nervous system, as I told you, broadly into two categories: CNS and PNS, central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. In central nervous system, you have brain and spinal cord. Brain, which is present in the cranial cavity, and spinal cord, which is the continuation of the brainstem, is located in the vertebral canal. Whereas peripheral nervous system is made up of 12 pairs of cranial nerves and 31 pairs of spinal nerves. Can you name the 12 pairs of cranial nerves? These are olfactory, optic, oculomotor, trochlear, trigeminal, abducent, facial, vestibulocochlear, glossopharyngeal, vagus, spinal accessory, and hypoglossal nerve. These are the 12 pairs of cranial nerves in order, and there are 31 pairs of spinal nerves. These are 8 cervical, 12 thoracic, 5 lumbar, 5 sacral, and 1 pair of coccygeal nerves. So that constitutes peripheral nervous system. This peripheral nervous system, again functional, it is divided into two types: autonomic nervous system and somatic nervous system. Autonomic nervous system, the name itself says it is autonomicity. So it is involuntary, it is not under your control, whereas somatic nervous system, it is under your control. The autonomic nervous system is further classified into sympathetic as well as parasympathetic nervous system. To give an example, autonomic nervous system, the organ systems of the body, the cardiovascular system, respiratory system, GI tract, all these are under the control of autonomic nervous system. For example, till swallowing is under your control. Once you swallow the food, the digestion, absorption, everything is controlled by autonomic nervous system. Similarly, the heart rate is regulated by autonomic nervous system. The respiratory rate is regulated by the autonomic nervous system. These all work depending upon the need of the body. So if you are running, your heart rate will increase, your respiratory rate will increase. It is not under your control. These are all under the control of autonomic nervous system. Now we will see some of the basic terms used in nervous system. First one is a gray matter. Gray matter, it is nothing but a collection of neuronal cell bodies along with neuroglial cells along with the blood vessels. So that constitute the gray matter. It appears gray in color. Whereas white matter, it mainly consists of the fibers, the neuronal fibers plus neuroglial cells plus blood vessels. That constitute the white matter. When you see the cut section of the spinal cord, the gray matter is present in the center and the white matter is present in the periphery. When you see the brain, that is exactly opposite, where you can see white matter is present in the center and the gray matter in the periphery. The next term which we are going to see is the nuclei. It is nothing but collection of neuronal cell bodies within the central nervous system. Example, you have cranial nerve nuclei, 7th cranial nerve nuclei, 8th cranial nerve nuclei. Whereas ganglia is also the collection of neuronal cell bodies, but it is outside the CNS. If there is a collection of neuronal cell bodies outside the central nervous system, means outside the brain and spinal cord, if there is a collection of neuronal cell bodies, it is called ganglia. Tracts. Collection of neuronal processes within the CNS is called tracts. So you have a tracts in the spinal cord, pyramidal tract, extrapyramidal tract, so many tracts. These are nothing but the collection of neuronal processes, means axons basically. I have the dendrites. When you see the nerve, is nothing but collection of neuronal processes outside the central nervous system. Can you name some examples of the nerve? That is our example. You have radial nerve, ulnar nerve, then femoral nerve. These are nothing but the nerve which are nothing but collection of neuronal process, means axons, bundle of axons outside the central nervous system. So these nerve fibers present within the nerve may be motor nerve fibers, may be sensory fibers, or may be autonomic fibers. Next, we will see the composition of the nervous system. Basically, there are two principal cells present in the nervous system. First one is the neuron and second one is the supporting cell. Neuron is a functional unit of the nervous system. It is excitable cell that transmits the electrical signals. Whereas supporting cells are called as neuroglial cells. There are various types of neuroglial cells that we will be going to discuss in the coming classes. Now we will see the parts of the neurons. The neuron is mainly made up of two parts: cell body, that is called soma, which mainly includes nucleus along with nucleolus and cytoplasm, and processes mainly of two types, dendrites and the axons. If you see the picture of the neuron over here, here you have a cell body and here you can see the dendrites, and this is the axon, a long axon you can appreciate here. The dendrites are the processes which will bring the electrical impulses towards the body, whereas axons are the process which will carry the impulses away from the cell body. In this picture you can appreciate the neuronal cell body. Here you can appreciate along with the axon. This is a higher magnification of the neuronal cell body. You can see this entire part is a neuronal cell body. There is a chrysal violet staining, and you can see in the center you have a prominent nucleus with a nucleolus. So this is nucleus with nucleolus, and surrounding there is a cytoplasm. The surrounding cytoplasm of the nucleus within the neuronal cell body can be called as perikaryon. And apart from the nucleus and nucleolus, you can see so many other cell organelles present in the cell bodies. That includes Golgi apparatus and lysosomes, Nisal substances or Nisal bodies. All those can be seen along with the mitochondria. Neuronal cell body, as I told you, it is a characteristic, shows the characteristic features of protein secreting cell because it has to synthesize the neurotransmitters, and there will be large euchromatic nucleus with a prominent nucleolus, and Nisal substance or Nisal bodies will be there, Golgi apparatus, numerous mitochondria, and cytoskeletal structures like microtubules, neurofilaments, lysosomes, vesicles, inclusions, all will be there within the neuronal cell body. You can see another picture, microscopic picture, and on the left hand side you can see the lower magnification picture with a neuronal cell body which is marked as NB, neuronal cell body, and you have a centrally placed nucleus and a darkly stained nucleolus is there, and surrounding the nucleus you have a darkly blue colored stained substances called as Nissal's bodies or Nissal's substances. You can see here, although on the right hand side your higher magnification of Nissal substances can you make out. So these are Nissal's granules. Coming to the axon, as I told you, axon conduct impulses away from the cell body. These are slender processes of uniform diameter arising from the axon hillock. Axon hillock is nothing but a junction between the cell body and the beginning of the axon. Usually there is only one unbranched axon per neuron, but sometimes you may be seeing collaterals, and at the end of the axon you're going to appreciate the branch termination of an axon called as telodendria. There is another picture of a special staining, that is a silver staining or Golgi staining. Here you can appreciate the black colored lines. The black colored lines are nothing but the axons, and you can see a cell body over here. So this is a picture of silver staining of the nervous system, where you can appreciate the axons as well as the neuronal cell body. The axons secrete neurotransmitters from the axonal terminals. Usually they are divided of axons are divided of cytoplasmic organelles. Now we will see the classification of neurons. Neurons broadly classified under these three headings. If you see this, according to the structure, that is polarity, according to the function, then according to the length of the axon. According to the structure or polarity, you have pseudo-unipolar, bipolar, multipolar. According to the function, you have sensory, motor and interneurons. According to the length of the axons, you have Golgi type 1 and Golgi type 2 axons. Now, according to the polarity, which I am going to discuss, you can see this neuron, that is a bipolar neuron. You see this one, there is a centrally placed cell body with two processes, one act as a dendrite and one act as a axon. So can you give an example where do you see such neurons, bipolar neurons, especially in the bipolar neurons of the retina as well as olfactory mucosal cells? You can appreciate such type of bipolar neurons. You can see this type of neurons. Here the third one, which is called as unipolar or pseudo unipolar. Here you can see the cell body. After that, one process is there, then it divides into two processes. One will act as a dendrite and one will act as a axon. This can be called as a unipolar or pseudo unipolar. Where do you see such pseudo unipolar neurons? The dorsal root ganglion. In dorsal root ganglion, you have a cell bodies, and one process will come and gets divided into two processes. One acts as a dendrite and one acts as a axon. The other one is a multipolar neuron. You can see there is a cell body with multiple dendrites and one axon. So such multipolar neurons are very numerous within the central nervous system. And the first one, which I did not mention, was this one. This is called as anaxonic neurons. These are also found in the CNS. So this is nothing but a structural classification of the neurons, that is unipolar, pseudo unipolar and the multipolar. Next is the functional classification. Functionally we can classify the neurons into two types or three types. These are nothing but sensory neurons and the motor neurons and the interneuron. In this diagram, if you appreciate carefully, in the cut section of the spinal cord, there is a red color neuron. The cell body is located in the spinal cord and the axon is moving out. This is a motor neuron. And the same diagram, you can see the neuron which is blue colored. The cell body is located here, that is dorsal root ganglion, and it has two processes. One is a dendrite and another one is a axon. The example of pseudo-unipolar neuron, what I was talking. So these are sensory neurons which will carry the information towards the central nervous system, whereas the red colored motor neurons, which is depicted in the diagram, which will carry the information away from the central nervous system. And connecting these two in the central nervous system, there are small neurons called as interneurons. And the third classification is based on the length of the axon. So we have Golgi type 1 and Golgi type 2. The previous slide we have noticed that Golgi type 1 and Golgi type 2. Golgi type 1 neurons, these are nothing but the neurons with long axons. They contribute to the formation of tracts within the central nervous system. So such type of neurons are called as Golgi type 1, and they are present, they mainly form the tracts, whereas Golgi type 2 neurons, these are having short axons with a smaller dendrites, and these are confined to the gray matter of the central nervous system. So these are Golgi type 1 and Golgi type 2. So the classification of neurons based on polarity, you have pseudo unipolar, bipolar, multipolar. According to the function, you have sensory, motor and interneurons. According to the length of axon, you have Golgi type 1 and Golgi type 2. Now these are the important questions which can be asked repeatedly in the examination. You have to draw a neat labeled diagram of the neuron. You should know the names of the cranial nerves in order, and you should know the classification of neurons with examples. The remaining things will continue in the next class.